Happy Mother's Day, everyone. I'm Chef Benny, and welcome back to Reheated History, the show where we prove that history is the only thing tougher than a mother's love. As a history teacher, I'm always looking for new and delicious ways to connect with the past. What did the common medieval peasant eat? What fueled the Roman gladiator? Did colonial Americans have a favorite comfort food? The answers aren't in textbooks. They're in the kitchens, farms, and fire pits of history. So, each week, we'll cook our way through time, one humble, hopefully hilarious, and surprisingly tasty dish at a time. Because the best way to understand history is with our stomachs. This is Reheated History. It's 2026 and times are tough. Feels like everything's getting too expensive. Trust me, I just took the family to Disneyland. I don't think I'll ever financially recover. Which takes me back to the mission of this channel. I set out to prove that really nothing is new under the sun and that people have traversed tough times, just like we are here. If you've been watching, I've always put the cost of the ingredients in the video, or I'll throw in the description if I forgot. So to help you and me get through these tough times, I'm bringing you Great Depression era foods. Today, for my mama and for my wife, we're baking war cake, an early 20th century staple that's proof you don't need eggs or butter to make something sweet, as long as you have a little maternal ingenuity. This recipe first appears in the 1918 U.S. Food Administration pamphlet as a method of rationing, sometimes named poor man cakes or yum yum cake. It appears in various other resources in American and Canadian government pamphlets as a method of having a nice treat, even if you're rationing. But before I jump into the recipe, I want to talk about Mother's Day. It's a sordid affair, and it takes place around the same time as our Cake for Mom. Most people think Mother's Day was invented by Hallmark to sell cards, but the real story is much more interesting and a little bit tragic. It starts with Anne Reeves Jarvis in the 1850s. Anne didn't want breakfast in bed. She wanted to clean water, so she started Mother's Day work clubs to combat high infant mortality and to teach sanitary chemistry to local families. Now, post-Civil War, she redirected her Fix the World energy and organized Mother's Friendship Day to bring former Union and Confederate soldiers together for a picnic, because apparently even a war couldn't stop a mom from telling you to play nice. She had a huge impact on hundreds of people with her selfless acts. Years later, her daughter, Anna Jarvis, spent years campaigning to make the holiday official to honor her mother's service, to be held around the anniversary of her death. Now, President Woodrow Wilson finally signed it into law in 1914, and that's how Mother's Day came to be. But here's the twist. Anna Jarvis absolutely hated what the holiday became. When she saw that florists and candy makers were hiking up prices every May, she would scream at the owners. She called them charlatans and pirates, and she even got arrested for disturbing the peace while protesting a mother's convention. She once said, "I want it to be a day of sentiment, not profit." And I can't think of anything more American than going in with the best intentions only to discover the profit motive that was driving it all along. So think about Anne and Anna this Sunday when you book your overly priced brunch menu. Now, during this time when Anna was fighting the corporations, moms across America during both wars and the Great Depression were fighting to keep their kids fed with nothing in the pantry. And that's how we got war cake. It's a ration cake that uses chemistry to replace expensive ingredients like eggs and butter. So here's the ingredients. You're going to need 1 cup of molasses, 1 cup of corn syrup, and 1.5 cups of water, a teaspoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of cloves, 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. We're going to be also adding 16 ounces of raisins. That's about 3 cups. For our fat, we're using 2 tablespoons of shortening instead of butter to save the dairy for the front lines. Finally, sift in 3 cups of flour, a teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Now you're going to combine your raisins, your sugars, your water, your shortening, and your spices into a pot. Boil it for 3 minutes. This plumps the fruit and creates a thick, flavorful syrup that binds the cake. Let it cool completely, then stir in your flour, baking powder, and soda. The reaction between the acidic syrup and the soda gives us our lift without needing a single egg. Pour it into a pan and bake for 350 degrees for 45 minutes. Now, the original 100-year-old recipe from the Department of Agriculture gives us the instruction to keep several days before using. It implies the cake is so dense and moist that the flavors actually need time to cure or develop, which is common for long-lasting wartime bakes. So I'm going to leave this out on my counter wrapped in tinfoil for 5 days. In the 1910s, this would sit in a tin in the pantry shelf, letting those spices and syrups get to know each other. All right, it's been 5 days. I've let the cake sit. If this cake looks familiar, kind of like your grandma's holiday fruitcake, you wouldn't be wrong. It's kind of like fruitcake's skinny, patriotic cousin, cutting out the eggs, butter, and brandy because, you know, times are tough. So it's been 5 days, and let those juices sit around. Here's how it turned out. Kind of caved in the middle. It's probably because there's no eggs. So it smells good. Let's take a bite. So here's how it looks when it's done. It smells good. Yeah, let's give it a taste. A lot of raisins. A lot of raisins. Yeah. Okay. I'm actually really pleased with this. I don't know if it'd be at the top of my dessert list, but it is one of those things that, like, you got to realize the times. You hadn't had dessert in a long time. Sugar has been gone from the grocery store since forever, and this is all you got. I bet this was pretty good. I imagine they called it Yum Yum Cake because it's propaganda, because it, it's good. It's not great. I think I'll give this a solid 6 out of 10, Like, I wouldn't be upset if someone served this to me, but I'd also be questioning our friendship. Well, enough for me, because as you know, the real judge is my family, because if they like it, I've got Mother's Day dessert planned, and if they don't, we're going to go get some cupcakes or something. I'll let you know in the description what they scored it. Can't recommend enough that this year you skip the overpriced card and make something with a story. History, much like a mother's advice, is best when it's taken to heart. Thanks for watching Reheated History. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because it costs you nothing and it helps us grow, and it reinforces my philosophy of needing more elder millennials to run the internet. So let's keep the past cooking. I'm Chef Benny, and I'll see you next week.